The pick is in.
The Montreal Canadiens have made a selection in the 2024 NHL Draft. I'm Gil Martin, and we are joined by Laura Saba of Locked On Canadiens to break down Montreal's selection of Michael Hage with the 21st overall pick, presented by Indeed. There is no I in team, but there is one in Indeed, and that's the hiring platform you need to build yours. To upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. So, Laura, what do you like most about Michael Hage?
I think one of the big things is that he's got it all. There's skating, there's speed, there's size. He has the potential to really make a dent. And, I know we don't pick for need. We pick best player available, but the Montreal Canadiens, their power play has suffered. We've talked about it all through the season. He does have a high hockey IQ, and he will potentially add to their power play weapons. So I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, size is a factor. People said no small forwards in the first round. The Montreal Canadiens have delivered. I truly feel this was the best option for them. And actually, in our mock draft at 26, Scott and I picked him. So it's turned out to be very poetic.
Absolutely. What aspect of his game does he needs to work on the most to get to the NHL?
There are a couple. So I think the biggest thing is consistency. Like, he does have that potential. He does have ability. He has that skill. He has that intelligence. But the consistency hasn't really been there. And also a little bit defensively. Like, he is relied upon a lot by the Steel for transition play. But I think it's really the consistency that's the biggest thing. And then slowly with the defense, that's kind of the knock on most forwards once you get past the first couple of, So I'm not too worried about that, but it's definitely two things that he should keep an eye on and work on while we wait for him to make the NHL.
And about how far out do you think he is?
I don't think he's close right now. I don't know if it's a Philip Machar situation where it's been multiple years and there's still not really a sign. I think he's closer than that. But I also do think that the Montreal Canadiens have a lot of young players. There is a logjam there. There's especially a logjam at center, right? And especially at middle six center. So I think that, at this point, for him to make the NHL, he's either really got to earn that spot out of camp, or there's got to be some trades where the Canadiens trade out some of that depth in order for assets or future picks. So I think he's a while away, but I am very encouraged that he's part of their depth.
All right. Well, for more on the Canadiens, subscribe to Locked On Canadiens on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And for more on Michael Hage, let's get an inside look on his path to the NHL.
Michael Hage has a ton of skill and upside, but how good are his odds of making the NHL? I'm Hattie Kalakash from Locked On NHL Prospects, ready to give you the breakdown. Hage is a 6'1", 190-pound right-shot center who played for the Chicago Steel in the USHL. He scored 33 goals and added 42 assists for 75 points in 54 games this year, and Hage's bread and butter is transition offense. He weaves his way through pressure with great skating, great hands. He finds a breach in the offensive zone, and he attacks it head-on. But what made Michael Hage a top 20 prospect this year, in my opinion, is the improvement in his defensive game, the effort level, the board game, and the offensive creation off the cycle has grown as well. There isn't really much in Hage's way to make the NHL, and he could turn into a Robert Thomas style of top six center if he can continue to grow the way that he has so far. For more on Hage and all things NHL Draft, make sure to follow and subscribe to Locked On NHL Prospects on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
And for continuing coverage of the 2024 NHL Draft, subscribe to Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.